Hello, gentles and ladymen. I'm Ulan Gaming, and I am joined by Dap once again for, I think, your second tier list you're doing with me, right?
I don't think I've ever done one.
I could have sworn you did one with me earlier. Anyways, we're doing the native tier list. So, Andrew, this dude named Andrew, who's been commenting on my videos for, practically a year now, constantly asking for the native tier list. You can finally, finish getting yourself off. There you go. You can finally finish. Alright, so the native tier lists, we are not rating the units, we're not rating the techs, we are rating everything to include the units, the techs, and the heroes that they come with, and as well as availability and what other natives they have to compete with on the maps that they are in fact available. So we're trying to take in as much as we can into account. We'll also be taking into account age restrictions on specific techs or units. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Yeah.
All right. So where are we starting with this?
Most of them are in alphabetical order already, so you can probably just go down the line. Starting with the Akan. Now, it is basically impossible to memorize every single native unit's tech. I am using the Age of Empires 3 companion app that has appeared in several of my other videos to help me go through this and remember a lot of these techs. And then you're on the wiki so that you can see the maps that they're available on.
I've also got a decent amount of them memorized.
Yeah. Okay, so the Akan I rate pretty highly because they have a really good unit. The Akan Musketeer, or the Akan Akanoba, I think is what they're called, have a range... And Cobia, same thing. They have a ranged attack that has area of effects, just like the Giant Grenadier. They're like a native version of Giant Grenadiers. But, available a whole ass age early and a hell of a lot cheaper. They also have quite the techs, They have one that, of course, gives you the Akan Tufen, or Tofuhen. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Something like that.
It's a hero that has a fealty aura that specifically gets him boosted by natives. So the more you invest into natives, the more powerful your hero becomes. And then he also just heals. He's basically just a really tough Akan, and that's all he is.
Well, he's got a sword. He's just like an African explorer, kind of. He's very good, though.
He has the Chaos ability as well, so he can help you take treasures really well.
He's got the Chaos ability, and this is one of the best, I think, native posts in the game. The Ankobia are incredibly strong. They've got some very good techs.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at them now.
They have Akan Gold Economy, I believe. It gives you a gold mine, and then I believe also a bonus to mining gold.
Yes, 10%. And then they also have one that boosts infantry speed by 5%, and then boosts their train speed by 20%.
Then exchanges, let's see. But yeah, these are just...
Oh wow, looking at it, it even affects Skull Knights. Wow, okay, so next time I use I use Aztecs and I see the Akan, I gotta grab that so I can get faster Skull Knight production.
Palm oil exports, which food does, of course, gather a lot faster. Yeah, that'll split it between food and coin.
All food is converted between 50% wood and 50% coin.
Yeah, you're gonna have to account for that in your build order, but that can still be very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, I do not want to see Japan with the Akan cocoa beans either. Yeah, just all of these are really just our text.
Yeah, they are just they have a powerful unit. They give you an extra explorer that can collect treasures and has a fealty aura.
Mm.
They have a whole bunch of techs that are useful for every single civilization. Akan are just the baseline perfect representation of an S tier native.
Yeah, I think this is the first civ I've ever seen people fight over on the map, burning down each other's trade posts. No, you can't have Akan. I want Akan.
Yeah.
It's a trade post that's going to give you resources.
So the Akan are nuts.
Very good. And I don't believe it's really gotten nerfed like the Yoruba have, so it's still going strong.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Apache. The Apache have the Apache Cavalry. They're dragoons, which is a really, really nice thing because most of the other natives are skirmishers. So if you get lucky with the Apache, you can get a native skirm goon combo in Age 2 going.
Well,
which
it's also just a Dragoon in Age 2,
which is just
pretty
super
nice.
solid.
It
They
does cost coin instead of food, though,
They
so...
do, yes, that is very, very true. They have the Apache have some pretty good techs. They have a villager speed boost by 15%, which is really, really good, especially if you're like USA, because then you can combine it with French immigrants and have like well over 5 speed vills.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. And then all military units plus 5% speed. They get like a
Yep, they get a
military
speed
drummer.
boost they get a speed they get half military drummers, but for every single unit instead
So
of just
even if you
infantry.
don't want anything else, if the game goes like longer, that's excellent. You definitely want that. Just something
Uh,
to keep into.
And then they have a tech that gives the Apache dudes a positive multiplier against settlers instead of a negative one like Dragoons normally get.
Double.
Yeah, which is
So you
just
can.
super good. Now the
That is an
Apache,
H3 tech,
it is an
though.
H3 tech, and then the Apache, as we mentioned, are hurt by the fact that their natives cost food coin, which helps them if you just are making Apache to help supplement your army, but hinders them if you're trying to make natives because a majority of natives cost food wood. And they don't
Mm-hmm.
go together very well. So there's a little bit of give and take with that. Um, there's also the fact that they're a little restricted in their maps. What maps are they available for?
Mexico, Painted Desert, Sonora, and Texas. So
Yeah,
Sonora and Mexico, I believe,
those
are
are going to be the
usually in
two. Yeah,
rotation.
those are going to be
Texas
the
was in
two most
rotation at
common
one point.
maps. They are a little restricted in their maps, but you do see them often enough. I think they're just a good baseline for like a B tier native.
Yeah, they're pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of natives are like better than you expect them to be.
Yeah, yeah. This is just you're familiar with my tier lists, right? Where I want the B tier to be mostly full, because
Yeah.
the B tier is like the standard good quality unit that serves a purpose and does it.
Okay. Now Berbers. I don't even have to look at their text. This is S tier, but I'll look at their text anyway.
So yeah, the Berbers give you the Berber nomads. You can train 5 villagers with the
Yep.
Berbers that gather extra fast from natural resources, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Which that's way better than like the
Yeah,
inverse of that.
yeah, it's way better than the inverse.
That's
Um, they also have the Berber camel rider, which
oh my
is
goodness. That
a
thing's crazy.
aren't these things like are these things like dragoons?
It is a melee
A
dragoon with
melee dragoon,
melee
right? So it's like
resist.
Cheyenne then.
Well, except it counters cavalry like hard.
Got it.
And it counters like dragoons too, if you get them in.
Right, but like
And since they're
getting
light
them in
cav,
is
then
the difficult part.
they just they're just awesome. They've got a good attack. They can get guns with Berber Fantasia, which so then they kind of become like a cowboy or something. They have like a musket on recharge,
Mm-hmm.
but that musket isn't just against heavy cav; it's against all cav. So they're just a crazy unit. They can raid, they can kill cav, they can kill infantry.
And then they
If
get
you're like,
they have a villager hit point tech as well.
yep,
Uh,
they have a hero. They have
do they have a hero? I was not familiar with that one.
yes,
Oh yeah,
the
the
Berber
Berber
Sultan,
Sultan. Sultan, that's right.
which is basically just like an emir or a raz or whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha.
It's they just get one because I guess this was a civ before they had to cut it and make it a minor civ because they had villagers and a hero and
Yeah, they basically were a sim before they cut it. That's funny. I never thought about it like that. They have
they
a
have
coin trickle.
yep, they have
Grants
a
you more
salt
XP the
mine.
more food and wood you have stockpiled.
So just like the Akan, they can put down like a
Yeah, I don't find the salt mine to be the best though. It has 10,000 coin on it, but it gathers slower, and
hmm,
the speed is what's most important about these mines.
it's good though. If it can keep you from switching to estates, then it's worth it.
But the fact of the matter is, they're S tier. They give you
So much
yeah,
garbage.
they give you
Oh my
powerful
goodness.
units. You can train villagers from them. They have crazy good techs that make your villagers harder to raid. They're S tier. Yeah.
Pick them up as like United States or some other civ that has trouble dealing with cavalry and just make those stupid camel riders.
Mm-hmm. We might be forced to be a little bit more harsh about what we put in S tier as we go, because I like a lot of the natives in this game.
African civs and Euro civs, there's going to be a lot of S tiers.
Yeah, I think there will be quite a few S tier natives in this.
I can't put the Berber anywhere else. They're just awesome.
Yeah. All right, the Bhakti. I really like the Bhakti, and they got a buff recently with the introduction of Tengri. Because Tengri, they got sorry, not Tengri. They got a buff recently with the introduction of the Giselbash, which replaced the Sufi war elephant, and then they moved the Sufi war elephant over to the Bhakti. So now the Bhakti can make war elephants, and they can make tiger claws, which tiger claws are the best shock infantry in the game, hands down, no competition. They are better than Chimus, I think, at least. Tiger claws are tanky as fuck. They have multipliers against infantry. That like a good multiplier against infantry, and they have good base damage, unlike the fucking Shottle. So just like the Bhakti are really, really good. They don't have the craziest techs, I don't think. They have one that increases the Tiger Claws HP by 50%. Which gives them 240 HP in the second age, which is really tanky.
Infantry attack is pretty good too with the Yoga.
Yep, the Yoga is really nice.
One thing to note is they kind of do double up. Both of their units do kind of function as heavy cav.
Yes, they have double heavy cav, but they're really good at heavy cav.
Yeah. One of them's kind of a lancer, while the other kind of tanks, though. So they're a bit different. Now, the secret OP thing about
is the
Bhakti, do not
berry gatherers
players
the berry gatherers.
Yeah, vegetarianism.
Yeah, vegetarianism. So this one increases your berry gather rate by 40%, which
40%.
Which I think increases them even more so than like normal hunting, right? Like you gather faster from berries than hunting, unless you get your.
It's got to be close. It's massive.
Like it's fucking ridiculous, but you just start gathering. This enables you to just use berry bushes as more hunts throughout your game, and it is nuts. They in my heart I want to put them in the S tier, but I need to be cruel, so I'm going to put them in the A.
Yeah, they're not as good as Berbers.
They're not as good as these two, but they are in my heart.
Oh my goodness! If you're playing Sweden or Japan, though, just like I don't think it works with cherry orchards, but Sweden specifically. Just you get all those berry bushes, and you can just
another thing that the Bhakti have going for them is that they are available on the Himalayas map, which pairs them with the Udasi, which gives you the chakrams, which are really, really good. So that's nice. Okay, the Caribs. I have a soft spot for the Caribs. The Caribs. They give you get a lot. The Caribs have quite a good base damage, and you can get a lot of them. I think you can get 30 just from your first native post, and then an additional 15 after the first because the ambushers. You get 15 normal Caribs and then 15 ambushers that you can make with your explorer once you get that tech.
I will see if I can fact check that.
No, Carib Blowgunner, build limit 15. I'm looking at it now, and I know for a fact the build limit is 15 on the ambushers as well. Because the ambushers and the Carib warriors count for separate build limits, but they have identical stats. And then the cool thing about them is that all of the Caribs upgrades just boost the Caribs more. They boost hand archers. They have one for archer attack. And then they have one that gives them a multiplier against villagers, which is super, super nice. But what makes it even better is that the Caribs are always on the same maps as, like, the Seminoles. Where are these? And the Seminoles also have another archer attack. These are both available on Florida, which Florida is available in team maps. It's available in standard maps. It's in hybrid maps. It's in every map pool under the sun. And then the Seminoles also have one that make them just have super high siege. So you get the whole package with these guys. They pair together really well. You just get a shit ton of skirmishers, and you can just monocon skirms and let your ally take care of the rest.
Yeah, I'm a little more skeptical. I think they've got good techs for if you're going with natives or archaic infantry, but they're a little bit more niche. They don't really have any economic bonus.
The blowgunners, that is very true. The blowgunners and
itself,
the Seminoles...
Yeah.
The Blowgunners and the Seminoles are really, really good if you are going into, like, a pure heavy-duty native strat. But that's all they're good for, because if you want natives just to give you a little bit of a boost from the cool techs, you're not really going to get much out of here.
Yeah. I've never been thrilled with their unit, though.
Even though I do
it's
like...
got very low range, not a lot of damage.
It's got a decent amount of damage.
It's just not a good unit to me.
It's got a decent amount of damage, actually. And they have multipliers against all infantry rather than just heavy infantry, which is really nice. So it's a blowgunner that counters other skirms.
That's true.
I really like them. However, I can't put them any higher than the B tier. I will put them above the Apache, I think. But I can't put them any higher than the B tier, specifically because they are useful only if you're trying to invest heavily in natives.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're just... This is not a unit that I want to be, like, a star unit that I want to be like, oh my goodness, yes, blowgunners. Like, I'm going to make my whole comp around blowgunners.
Oh, I've done that before. It's really funny. You can just get a shit ton of them. It's so funny.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Trust me, dude. Next time you're like trying to go heavy on the natives, if you can get your hands on like 2 to 3 Caribs, just try it. It's so fun.
Alrighty, what else we got here then?
I want to go over the Seminoles because I kind of paired them together with the Caribs. The Seminoles are worse. They have less techs. They don't have multipliers against all infantry like the Caribs do. They just have multipliers against the heavy infantry. They have a slightly worse firing animation. They only get 2 techs, which boost archer attack, just like the Caribs. They do stack well together with the Caribs. And then they also get one that enables the Seminoles to have 40 siege in age 2, which is a little silly. Basically, these guys are just pikes. You want to think of these as crossbow pike, like in one unit, but without like the multiplier against cav. It's the property of a crossbow, but the siege of a pike, which is pretty cool. But really, the most use you get out of the Seminoles is supporting the Caribs. The Caribs are the real star of the show.
Yeah, they're probably one of my least favorite, just because it's the same problem as the Caribs. All their techs are kind of just related back to their unit,
which is fine, except that they don't have as many or as good attacks as the Carib, and their unit isn't as good either. I'm honestly inclined to like put them in the D tier. Like the Seminole are really good if you're going pure natives and if you're on Florida, because then you can pair them with the Carib, and these two together have a really powerful pairing. Like if they were like, if I was like ranking them together, I'd put them in the A tier, but separately they're B and D.
For its biggest draw to be that it synergizes well with like another kind of niche.
Yes, exactly. Okay, the Cherokee are next.
I think these are pretty good.
Yeah, the Cherokee are really, really terrifying. They have some good upgrades because one of their techs just is a 4 settler shipment. It's really, really good. The Cherokee riflemen themselves have a very good firing animation because they have rifles. They have decent range. They have just decent stats across the board. Besides the free villager tech, they also have one that halves the cost of wood upgrades for most of your economic upgrades, which is really, really nice. But their other one, their last tech is what's most terrifying. Cherokee have a tech that increases all native movement speed by 20%. Which is just absolutely terrifying, because if you combine this with like military drummers from Advanced Arsenal, you can get 30% movement speed on like all of your units, and most natives actually have like at least 4.5 as their base movement speed. Most natives are pretty fast,
especially if you're an African civ, or even if you're like Mexico or Inca. If you're any civ that gets to ally with natives as part of their like normal kit, that's gonna be really nice to have.
Yes, exactly. Now, it's not super useful for all civs, because I don't think the Cherokee actually show up on any maps with cavalry natives. I think they show up in like swamps and stuff like that, and a couple other maps here and there. But some civilizations can get cavalry natives just on their own. Like Inca can get Zapotec warriors, for example. So the Cherokee can give Zapotec warriors a 20% like movement speed increase. Or Mexico can get Jesuit conquistadors. So imagine dragoons with 20% extra movement speed. That's what the Cherokee provide here.
So yeah, it's pretty good. They get bonuses for if you're going native warriors, and then they've just got a little bit of that economic
I want
bonus.
to put them in the A tier. I think that's a good spot for them.
I think they've just got so much competition. I think.
Well, they also give villagers is the
things,
other thing, because they have a 4 villager shipment.
I would only do high B, honestly, but like the top of B tier.
Okay, very top of B tier. I can agree to that, but like they're very top of B or the very bottom of A. Like they're good. They're really good. All right, let's do the Cheyenne. So Cheyenne have like a cavalry pikeman as their unit. It's a cavalry that has a melee multiplier against other cavalry, just like the Berbers. They're not as good as the Berber, though. Yeah, it's basically a Chinako. They're not as good as the Berbers, I don't think. Just because you don't get to train villagers with them.
It's not even a fair comparison.
It's not. The nice thing about the Cheyenne, though, is that you can get them on the same maps as the Comanche. And once again, it's like Seminole Sharptooth thing, where like the biggest strength of the Cheyenne is that it synergizes well with the Comanche, because both of these guys have a ridiculous number of cavalry upgrading techs. So if you're like France, for example, and you want some cavalry, like, oh, you're gonna fucking love this. Mm-hmm. They have a 40% cavalry train reduction. They just have so much stuff. They have a lot of stuff.
That's the only cavalry upgrade I think they have is the Cheyenne horse training. So, which isn't bad, but
that is the only one. Yeah, it's 40% train reduction though. Like you're basically getting back to like the instant train status from Legacy with Cuirassiers.
If you're playing late game, then that's worth it. But for early game, that's absolutely not. It's too expensive.
That's very true. They also have one that gives you. They also have one that gives you a 12 bison shipment, which is really good.
That's excellent.
That's probably their best tech, honestly. I'm kind of inclined to put the Cheyenne in the C tier though, because their unit isn't the best. Like it's decent, but it's not the best, and their techs just aren't either like are really good but expensive or. I think C tier is probably good.
The bison are good. It's not really a reason. Well, I guess that's worth it if you're late game and you don't want to switch to mills yet.
Mm-hmm. It's good for like a mid to late game.
It's a bit of an investment if you're just getting bison.
Fucking shut the fuck up, Ad. I swear to God. Nerds! Okay. Do you think they're D tier or C tier?
I think they're C tier.
Okay.
I still make these guys if you're like playing Lakota or something on Great Plains, then by all means these guys are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, they do have Seminole Sharptooth Bowman syndrome, where their best thing is that they synergize with the Comanche, because the Comanche have much better cavalry upgrades and much more of them.
Comanche are the better of the two civs for sure.
Yeah, Comanche I'm gonna put in high B, right with the Apache. I think I want to put them above the Apache because the Comanche do cost food wood, which I think is a nice bonus if you're trying to lean more into natives. Because the other natives, like Cheyenne, for example, cost food wood. And so you don't have to your macro is a lot easier because of it. But Cheyenne have a cavalry hit point tech. They have a cavalry movement speed tech. And they just, when you combine that with the Cheyenne, the Cheyenne, you can get quite a few cavalry techs. You know?
Aged True Dragoons too. I don't know what's up with the trade language. That doesn't seem too useful.
It affects your age up, which is really nice. It's like here,
an age up counts as an improvement.
I guarantee you, it affects the age up cost.
Okay, I thought it was technologies, and I was like, well, I mean,
it is technologies.
Like, calculate that right, then that might. But that's
right away. You gain it right away. It's like 100 coin off your age up, which I think to age 3, which I think the tech itself costs like 100 coins. So it's like here it pays for itself, and then it's just a discount for everything else. So it's a really good tech.
Strangest wording though is it just the wiki? It just says improvements. Like what the hell is an improvement?
It affects your age ups. It affects all of your market techs and your arsenal techs and your veterancy stuff. Like it's a really good tech. It pays for itself as soon as you age up to 3, and you just start getting value after that.
Okay, I'm sold. It's not that expensive either.
No, it's not.
So yeah, this is just good. Cavalry speed is, of course, just excellent.
Imagine if the Cherokee and the Comanche were on the same map.
Unknown, baby.
Unknown. Just get 25% movement speed on your fucking Comanche horse archers. Oh,
Yep,
it'd be
if you're
beautiful.
a Cav Civ, then this is really good to pick up. Just get some hit points and speed. You can't, like,
Yeah,
who doesn't want that?
exactly. And the Comanche themselves are pretty good units too.
Yeah,
They're not the best, but like they're pretty good.
Pretty stylish too, I must say.
All right, Cree is probably the only of the is probably the only one of like the American natives that is going to be in the S tier.
Yep.
You can train Coureur de Bois. There's just no getting around that. And you can train Coureur de Bois. You can get the Cree trackers, which the Cree trackers are tanky as ever living fuck. They're a skirmisher with 260 base HP. Like, they are insane.
As well, it's just an age 2 rifleman. Like,
yeah, it's an age
everything else.
So. Yeah, it's an age 2 rifleman, so they have the good firing animation.
Yeah, if you're playing like Inca or something, then boom, you got a skirmisher in age 2.
They're awesome. Really, really good. Then their techs are also all super good. That are useful for everybody. One is just here, all of your land military, boom, 10% HP. You know, and then another one is all of your buildings, boom, cheaper. Like they just have like good techs that everybody can use.
Mm-hmm.
If you see the Cree, you go for them.
I think it'd be neck and neck with Cherokee. If it didn't have the Coureur de Bois, it would still be pretty solid. But with the Coureur de Bois, it just is really, really excellent.
So fucking good. Like if you see these three civs right here these three natives here are the natives where you see them, you get them. You know.
Cree might be one of like the most used natives in the game because everyone just wants those like sweet Coureur de Bois. It's just really good.
And USA gets them just no matter what the map is. It's part of the reason that USA can get good natives is because they have access to the Cree every single time. Alright, now let's do all the royal houses.
Yay!
House of Bourbon. Hi. I really like the House of Bourbon. I'm tempted to put them in the S tier, but they don't provide that many eco-techs, if I'm not mistaken. The House of Bourbon. So, for reference, if for those of you unaware, the royal houses, the royal houses do not provide an XP trickle like every other native has, but and that is to compensate for the fact that they have the massive big button abilities. So the House of Bourbon's big button ability is that it boosts your military movement speed for a few seconds, which is really, really nice. It actually makes quite the thing. And then they have one of their techs gives their musketeers, because they have musketeers and dragoons in age 3, musketeers in age 2. One of their techs gives their musketeers a charged pistol attack, and so with all this, you can just have like fast moving musketeers that have like a really powerful like pistol attack, and they're just nuts. Like if you're trying to make natives for military purposes and no other purposes, like the Bourbon are really, really good at their job.
I believe they start with the pistol attack. I don't think you need any tech.
You do need a tech. I'm pretty sure.
I know I've seen Malta and stuff just send the card for them in age 4 and they just have the pistols, and I'm not
yeah, you're right yeah, you're right, it is just a base level thing. So yeah, the Bourbons are just insane
too. I believe its thing is that it has lots of range,
hits at a higher range and performs well in melee combat, can trample enemies.
One thing is that the trample is like
non-existent.
But the main issue with them I've found is that even though they have better range, they've got this like wind up to their animation where they have to hold up the rifle and sort of aim down sights.
Okay. I've never gotten to use the Royal Dragoons. I usually just spam. Yeah. I usually just monocomp the Musketeers, honestly, whenever I see them.
That is the main issue with them. But they've got the Royal Horsemen.
They have an insanely good tech that gives you XP for each technology and shipment you've gotten, which
a little mini mercantilism. Awesome.
It's not just a mini mercantilism, although I'm speaking from the perspective of USA, where my native strat is like partially a boom, but when I'm playing USA, right, I get Hamiltonian economics and the Springfield Armory, so I used this once and it gave me well over 2,000 XP.
Oh, jeez.
It's fucking ludicrous. It's better mercantilism.
Royal tax. That seems
20 coin for
okay.
each building owned. It's not great. You need a lot of buildings before it starts paying you back for its cost for the upgrade itself.
The villagers have a 1 times multiplier against infantry. I don't even.
There's
What's
no
the
point
of
to
that?
it. You do 6 damage instead of 3. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Yeah, that's like awesome.
Like, the
That's
House
so
of
much to fight.
Bourbon... Yeah, the House of Bourbon... they have the Royal Horseman with all future shipments, which is kind of cool too, but I think it's a really expensive tech.
It's if you're going for like some weird shenanigans with
This is the tech you want to do right before you send your
build.
super mercantilism card.
Yeah, well, you can also, like, if you're a native civ, you can get warrior culture, and then, but that's so
Like,
niche.
the House of Bourbon, I'm honestly tempted to put them in the S tier. I definitely think they're above the Bhakti. The House of Bourbon
Definitely.
are just stupid good. Their only thing is that like not all of their techs are the best. The coin one is kind of mixed, you know, but and then the villager one is also bad. But what they do really really well.
They're pretty solidly in the back of the pack when it comes to Euro natives, I think.
Well,
that doesn't mean they're bad.
Specifically, if you're trying to go pure natives, like to make native military and native armies, I think they're one of the best.
I think if we're putting them in S tier, then there's a very real possibility every single Euro native gets S tier.
Yeah, I'm not going to put them in the S tier, but I do think that if you are making natives for making natives and making native military, they're like one of the best.
Yeah, they're excellent, but I don't think they're Cree level.
They're not Cree level, no.
We didn't talk that much about their rechargeability. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mentioned that it boosts. I mentioned that it boosts military movement speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's quite neat. It's quite nice. The nice thing about it is that it has a pretty cool, short cooldown. So
yep,
there's that.
Then they have the Royal Horsemen, which are better now. They're still not much to write home about.
Mm. All right, House of Habsburgs. I'm not familiar with these ones too much. I'm not going to lie. I know they get the mounted infantry, which I believe can dismount, right?
Yep. So I have actually used these guys quite a bit. They've got Congress of Vienna, which is basically just
a shipment.
Like mercantilism. It's
just
good.
It grants a shipment to spend, so it doesn't give you XP. It just adds one to your shipment stockpile.
They've got another thing that also gives them XP.
Which grants 20 XP useful. For each building. That's way better than 20 coin. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's so they've basically got 2 ways to give you shipments.
Yeah,
they've got multinationalism, so you can it's like a merc shipment that you don't need to put in your deck. Which is way better than you'd think it would be. That's just if the game goes to that length and you just I want some mercs. You don't even have to worry about wasting.
What's their big button ability? What's their big button ability?
Their big button ability gives you the Magyar Hussars.
Right.
It's very slow to build up, but even just getting 1 is crazy. It's a double health Hussar just to help you with your rush or whatever.
Yeah,
but if you let it build up for a long time, then you can get like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The Austro-Hungarian Empire, I don't really know why that's so expensive. It just gives you some grenadiers with your big button.
Okay.
But their infantry, their units are great too. The mounted infantry is...
Yeah, tell me about these.
It's kind of just like a lancer on a horse, honestly.
That can turn into a skirmisher, I see.
Yeah, ranged heavy cav that can dismount to become a skirmisher.
So and benefits from promotions.
I really don't dismount it that much. The main thing you want to dismount it against is, since it's heavy cav,
musketeers.
If you're facing dragoons, then you can turn it into a skirmisher.
Right. So it's more like musketeers or like samurai or whatever, or dragoons. You just turn it into a skirmisher.
I would leave it mounted if it's facing like samurai, because you can kite with them. And they still have an infantry bonus.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, just basically against dragoons, since normally they'd be countered by dragoons, you instead turn them into a skirm, and now all of a sudden,
how fast is the
anymore, and they got a bonus.
How fast is the dismounting? Is it like literally just click a button and they're gone, and then they're done, or do you have to go through an animation?
There's like a little animation where they like get off their horse, and then they have to give it a pat on the ass while it runs away for a second, and it does take a while. But it's worth it if you need to do it. Like I said, I don't usually dismount them that much, but in certain situations, you do want to do it.
And then the line infantry, I'm assuming this is... these look like, by their description, that they're Nizam Fusiliers with promotions.
That's overselling them a bit. They're not great, They are very gimmicky though, so it's like Nizam Fusilier, but if their stance change gimmick was not as good and more confusing.
Oh, perfect. So,
So I believe
where would you put them?
so
Bottom
weird.
of A? By the
I
sounds of
would
it, I
put them
don't
above
think.
Bourbon. Honestly, their techs are just awesome.
Okay,
I love mounted infantry, man.
all right,
But
I'll take your word
so I
for it.
believe they have by default they have a higher reload animation than a normal musketeer. It's faster. I mean, if you put them in stagger mode, I believe they get more range. Um, in melee mode, they have like a faster melee attack or something.
We
And then
won't.
in
We don't
like
need to go too deep into it. Like we should
in
be moving
stand your
on.
ground, they get like a siege damage for some
We don't. We
reason.
don't need to go into it. We don't.
It's a
No.
very weird unit.
Nobody is trying to
They're not
pay
bad.
attention to that for our tier
Not bad at
lists.
all. If you're playing Germany, musketeer, and a pretty decent one at that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It fills in that's the nice thing about both of these is they provide the musketeers. I've never played with them, so I'm
Yeah.
like
But
partial to
just
bourbon, so I'm gonna put them here.
think
But
about how much better the techs are um
yeah,
for
whatever.
Habsburg though. But I guess the units aren't as good. That's just I like techs more and you like units more,
Yeah,
so
I do. All right,
I think they're both A tier.
yeah,
I'm
they're both A
tempted to
tier.
put Habsburg S tier, but I don't think it's the best one
No, they're not.
at all. I think there's lots of ones that are better.
And we also have to cut the line somewhere, you know. All right,
Hmm.
Hanover, House of Hanover. I'm not a big fan of the Hanover. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
I love them.
Uh, the
I think they're pretty good.
the primary reason I don't like the Hanover is because of the Totenkopf Hussar, the basically weaker Ulan that runs around and just gets shredded by fucking everything. I don't like them. I really don't. Now the Black Brunwicker, I'm not familiar with. I don't think I've used them before.
I
Uh,
believe it is a fast musketeer that reloads fast as well.
okay.
Yeah, it's got a 2 rate of fire actually,
Oh, that's not bad.
and 4.75 speed.
But then on top
So,
of having like a really shitty cav unit, they also have a completely useless tech, the H5 one.
oh yeah,
So
that's just dead weight.
one of their techs is just dead weight that just takes up a slot that could be something else.
You have to remember though, most natives only have 3 techs. Some
Exactly.
only have 2.
But when we're comparing them to the other natives that you can get access to on the same maps as this, you know, he's directly competing against all of the other European natives, and he's got he's got a bad cav unit. He's got a useless tech compared to every other native that he competes against, and it's just, yeah, I don't like them. I don't like it.
I'm not as hard on the Totenkopf as you are. I think they're pretty good. The promotions actually help out a lot with raiding because villagers don't fight back. And the more they kill, the more they kill, the more they kill.
Right, but they don't get promotions from raiding. It's only military units. You have to
They
kill
do.
military units to get
They
promotions.
absolutely get promotions from killing villagers.
They do
I
not.
can almost
I
guarantee it.
guarantee it. Promotions only are only in effect from military units, not villagers. I've tested it.
Hmm. But yeah, it still charges their death strike.
They're the
Um,
biggest thing I think that brings to the table is the tech that ships a random card from your deck. Now
yep, that's a very good one.
it only ships a free card. It does not ship a card that costs resources. It only ships a card for the age you're currently in. So you can't just like be like, oh, I see we're going on a map with Hanover. Let me pick my deck that has like one card in it and it's an age 4 factory and get that in age 1.
The drummers are also pretty overpowered, but I believe they're only in age 3, maybe
Yeah,
4.
I think they're age 3 restricted as well.
Yep. But if it's a long game, you definitely want some of these bonuses. Oh wait, what's their oh, Royal Fireworks. So this is a bit more niche, but that's a pretty good
Right,
power.
so the fireworks is a decent god power. It allows you to just stun everybody for like a second or two, right?
Yep, it's pretty short, but if you're good, you can really leverage that. Like if
Mhm.
you're a Culverin War,
Yeah, it'd be really good against a Culverin War.
it's awesome. You can just, oh, you're not firing for a second here. I'm just gonna kill your stuff. But it is just such a short stun. It is kind of hard, admittedly, to do that.
I'm honestly like really tempted to rate Hanover really lowly.
I wouldn't put it really low because I still like the Totenkopf. In Age 3, they've got some way better units. They've got royal card games. They've got an inspiring flag. If the game goes longer, they've got some amazing technologies and good units too. And then I still think that these are an awesome rating unit.
Because we have to take their availability into account. Because I think they're not a very good rating unit because they have less HP and attack than a Hussar. But they have less HP than an Ulan and less attack than a Hussar, so it's like the worst of both worlds. They are a little cheaper though, but if the thing is, I have to take their maps into account, and the fact that the only other natives that the Hanoverians have to compete against, that they get to compete against, is all of the other Euro natives. I think, for me specifically, it makes me want to put them in top C.
Oh, I would never dream of rating them that low. I would never go lower than B. Gotta be honest.
And I will respect your opinion for that and put them in the bottom of B.
Because it's not quite as good as an Ulan, I don't think. It's got some gimmicks, so it's kind of hard to quantify just how much promotions and rechargeability are worth stat-wise. But what you gotta remember is it's a 0 pop, like Ulan, that any Civ can train, that comes out essentially of a base that's already forward most of the time. For like 100 food, 100 wood in Age 2, super early. Like,
wait, the Totenkopf cost 100 food, 100 wood?
No, that's to make the trade post.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, I was freaking out for a second. But yeah, no, I don't rate them very highly, and I might put them in C tier at the end when I'm relooking.
I would put a middle pack of B tier. I think they're very good.
Like, obviously they're a good native, but they have to compete against tons of natives that are just A and S.
Okay, I see, because again, you are just rating it off of like, oh, I'm doing a native strat, I want units to like beat my opponent up with.
Because
for that,
I need to value the units and the techs equally, and they are struggling in the unit department.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then they have bad competition. They have a whole bunch of competition that's bad for them. Like, if I see Hanover, I groan because I think, well, that could have been House of Bourbon. You know, that could have been House of Habsburg. You know,
there are some maps as well that only get Hanover because it's the only like British native. So if you're on like Ireland or something, they're only going to be Hanover.
Right. I guess that's fair. A fair point as well, but regardless.
Yeah.
Alright, Jagiellon, S tier. No competition. Yeah, S tier. Top of S tier.
They've got like a kind of almost better Lombard rechargeability.
Their
macro sucks. Fix it.
Yeah, their big button ability equalizes all of your resources. Food, wood, and coin. Boom, they're the same number now.
Both of their units are absolutely busted, and they're both available in Age 2.
The Shock Rider is just a stupid good Lancer, basically. That's
got like 15 different gimmicks.
Yeah, they get it. They gain from promotions. They have a charge attack, and they have dual resistance. It's silly.
Yeah, well, they're a Lancer as well. Remember,
and then they have Lancer.
Just being a Lancer was enough for it to be interesting.
Yeah, they're a
Lancer with 3 other gimmicks.
It's a Lancer with dual resistance, a charge attack, and promotions. Like, what the fuck?
It's fast.
And it's fast. Yeah. And then they have the Litka Tartar, which is just a high firing, a high fire speed cavalry archer. I think they fire at 1 speed, right?
Yep, and then they've got, I believe, a tech that even makes cav archers better.
Yeah, let me look at their text. They have increases hand cavalry ranged armor. So they get, I think their shock infantry gets 10%. Their shock cavalry gets 10% more range res. Units and resources you have already received from age ups are granted again.
Yep. Oh, they've got 5 Litka Tatars. Units armed with a bow gain more range, especially Litka Tatars. Okay.
Yeah. They have a tech that allows them to go past their build limit, which is just stupid. Litka
Oh, where do you see
Tartars
that?
are because it ships 5 Litka Tartars on a tech. So
Oh, I see what you mean.
you can cap out your Litka Tartars and then boom, go past your limit by shipping 5, and then boom, they all have more range too.
Yeah, Jagiellonian Legacy is just a really good tech too. You can just, oh, I want to have like, it's H4. It'll take a while, but you can get like, oh, I want 400 wood, town center, and like 2 falconets. Like, oh, okay, for 600 res, that's a steal. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah. Now the full works is kind of like the only thing that's kind of meh. It gives you resources for each person in future farming building. I'm not really sure how good that is.
How much resources is that? It's cheap
I'm not
though. I will give it
sure.
that.
I'm not
You
sure.
just normally in most games you don't go to
Yeah, you
farms,
don't
but
want to go to farms exactly.
if you are going to farms, I bet it's not bad at all. So
What is their big button ability? What is their god
we
power?
were just talking about balance of powers.
Oh right, herp to dirt. Yeah, we already talked about it.
Yep. So this is just easy S tier.
Easy S tier. Easy S tier.
Probably one of the best Euro natives. I don't know why they're so good.
They're just ridiculous. All right, House of Oldenburg. There we
Hmm.
are. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like these guys too much.
I really like these guys.
The royal huntsmen are it's another one of the civs with a trainable settler, just like the Cree and just like the Berbers. But the other unit that they get access, the villager that they get is really expensive. It's 140 food, and it doesn't gather any faster at base level. You have to get techs in order for it to gather faster than a normal villager. Um, and then the unit that they have in addition to it is it's a musketeer with low hit points and high damage. So it's like an Ulan but for musketeers, which is not
Dark
bad.
Souls of
It's
Musketeers.
the Dark Souls of Musketeers. God, I fucking hate you. They benefit from promotions, which is not bad. But the big issue is that you can't build very many of them. You can only get 12 of them, and
Yep. But they only cost food.
they do only cost food, which is nice. But you can only get 12, and if you're trying to invest in natives, this is not going to be one of the better ones. This is a great native for if you're just wanting to play standard and add a little spice, because then you get the Oldenburg settlers and you just have more villagers for a while.
Yeah, I think economic. This is more
This
economic.
is an
than a lot of
economic
units.
one. This is a very economic native
'Cause
post.
their techs also.
But compared to like others of like the European natives, they're also very economic, but they also have really really good military as well. And Oldenburg is lacking in one of those departments.
No. Yeah, so if you're going like aggressive with natives and you really want to use units, this is not one that's going to help you out.
It's not.
I actually have played a game of Tycoon where these were awesome though, because you've got this awesome food economy. You get hunting expeditions, so everything that gathers food also trickles coin, which is just phenomenal. You've just got such a good eco at that point.
Now they
You
do
even get
have a tech that turns their royal huntsmen into full military units. It makes it so that they can no longer gather food, but become better fighters and have a higher build limit. I'm not sure if it allows you to train them 5 at a time. Do you know if it allows you to train them 5 at a time?
hold on. I actually don't know if it allows you to train them. The League of Armed Neutrality?
Hunting
I don't believe it
expeditions.
does.
Or no, yeah, League of Armed Neutrality. That's the one.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it
Because
does.
if it doesn't allow them to train 5 at a time, then what's the fucking point? You get one military unit every like 25 seconds. You know,
It may though. It gives them a larger build limit.
it
It
does
wouldn't
give them a larger
surprise
build
me if it
limit.
did. I don't think I've ever sent this because I just want them to be villagers. But if you run out of hunts, that's pretty good. They've got
Mhm.
the better skirmishers. Warships and defensive buildings now trickle coin, which long game. If you just want some more eco, that's pretty good. Like in that Tycoon game, I just made a ton of warships just
Yeah,
and
no,
had them sit around trickling coin.
Oldenburg is a really, really good civilization to play to pick if you are specifically not trying to make native units. They're really,
Yeah,
really good for economics and for nothing else, basically.
which and you gotta think most people don't actually want to make native units. Like if we're being honest, the royal house ability though. scientific expedition.
It's super
this
good.
is like one of my favorites.
Yeah, it recovers quickly, and you get a balloon, and that you can with a huge line of sight compared to other balloons, and you can just be like, I know where all your eco is. You can put it on a coin mine to see if there's villagers there, and see if you can go raiding. It's super good.
If you think balloons are bad, think again. It's just not good to ship them because it puts you behind your opponent. But if you can get one for basically free, it's just like
exactly.
incredible.
Balloons aren't something you want to ship, but they are a great bonus. Yeah, I'm putting them high A.
Really? I thought the lack of a unit was going to really...
No, I definitely think they're really, really good. I just don't think they're S tier.
Okay. I usually grab them just because it's like the Cree.
They're like here for
villagers.
I don't know which.
Anything that gives you villagers is going to be high tier.
Exactly. And they're really, really good at providing ego bonuses. Like, if you want to make a native and specifically not have it impact your overall gameplay experience at all, Oldenburg is the way to go.
What a thrilling...
House of Vasa.
Vasa. So this is I might be because it's not on a lot of maps. This is one I haven't used as much as the others.
I have not used it as much either. You get the Royal Arquebuser, a skirmisher that can fight. Oh right, I've used these guys before. You get like skirms are good in melee, well, good-ish, and then you get winged hussars once you get to age 3.
Yeah, they're decent. I don't really think they're anything to write home about.
They're not.
Hussars are like a crazy cuirassier, lancer, recharge. They're just good.
They're
so expensive though.
They have a tech that all units gain slightly more hit points, particularly warships. But it's 5%. It's 5% hit points and then 10% on warships. But like, why would I ever want that over the Cree one that just boosts land military by 10%?
Right, but like, I don't think there's any maps with Vasa and Cree
exactly.
And if there were, you'd get them both. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, of course.
But that's just a very good general upgrade. All units cost 5 less coin. That's another very good, just help you throughout the game upgrade. Like that'll pay for itself pretty quick if you're just making musketeers or something.
You can also get a shipment of torp wagons.
Yeah, you just get to roleplay Sweden and just put it all on mine, which is just, it's lovely.
I'm not familiar with their big button ability.
There, let's see. Let's take a look at it. All gather rates increased. Villagers gather 25% faster. Buildings trickle 10% faster. Bonus improves the longer you wait.
Right, yeah. You don't actually want to wait for that one though. You just want to spam it as soon as it's off cooldown because it's like a 25% gather boost.
Yeah.
You want to just spam that as much as you can.
It's just kind of like a very tiny. It's like a mini marvelous year. It's like a marvelous weekend or something.
Marvelous weekend. Oh, that's so good.
But it's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Just you can just push a button to get free like 25%.
Yeah, exactly.
It also does build.
It's like here, have like Wignacourt again, but for like 20 seconds.
Yeah, the building trickle, my eyes kind of glazed over, but now that I'm thinking about it, Kancha houses, shrines, torps, the torps that you get from this like very native post.
Yeah, right.
Faster. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So whether you've got like a villager eco, torp eco, whatever, this is going to help you out.
I'm gonna put Vasa at like I think bottom of A.
Yeah, they're not my favorite. They've just late game. Those winged stars are pretty killer. I think they've got a tech that gives you more of them, and then they've got 2+ range and +1 damage area on lance charge. So they're just like insanely good, but they are like a more expensive than a cuirassier. Like.
Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about the House of Wettin. The House of Wettin big button ability improves melee cav armor, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, it's like
it's one of the most niche fucking big button abilities ever of all of them.
I mean, I think it's pretty good.
It's good, but it doesn't mean it's not niche. You need heavy cav to take advantage of it.
Right, but if you've got them,
yeah, of course,
cool, buddy. And then also the native gives you heavy cav.
Yeah, I am aware of that one. So, House of Wettin. Never before have I been so supremely. I used these recently in a game. Never before have I been so supremely disappointed by a European native in Age 2, and then had my opinion of them completely 180 in Age 3 when I get access to Cuirassiers.
Yep. That for every civ in the game. Seems fair. They are an Age 3 unit, but like, oh, boo-hoo.
They also only have a build limit of 7, which is fair.
Yeah, it's completely fair. They shouldn't have them to begin with.
Their techs are not. Yeah, their techs are kind of niche as well. Fully resets the market buy and sell rate. Like, ideally, you want to be avoiding using the market in the first place because it's still a loss for the most part.
It's not the worst, but it's not good either. Marriage politics, that's pretty good.
They have the fort wagon though. That one's really, really good. It's expensive.
Fort wagon.
It's more expensive than tower. It's more expensive than actually like building a fort, but like you do get the battery tower.
Forts.
Yeah, exactly.
Only Malta and the American civs can.
Yeah,
so.
And Inca as well.
But it gives you battery towers too.
Yes, that's also
wait longer, and those are pretty good. I think they look scary, so I mean
they're basically they're slightly better than normal outposts. They're not that much better.
Yeah, if just the ability that can't be underestimated. Just to be able to build a fort as like Lakota or something, that's awesome.
The fort is probably the biggest thing that the biggest advantage that Wettin provides, in my personal opinion. It's the best part of Wettin. It's the best part of Wettin.
The Trabants are good. That's just
and you're right. And the age ups being 20% cheaper is also stupid good.
They've got Giant Grenadiers with all future shipments. So
I've sent this card.
Grenadier costs like 200,
250, 250 coin.
250. So this will pay off after like 3 shipments.
I've sent this card. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I've sent this card before. It's by the time you have enough coin that you can send it without it impacting your economy too much, you're at the point in the game where adding 1 giant grenadier every like 5 minutes is just not great.
Yeah,
it's not a great tech. I definitely think Wettin. They have some really good things going for them. They have the fort, and they have Cuirassiers. That is all they have going for them, though.
I still think, like, pretty much every civ can make heavy cav, though. Like, I know it's shock infantry. Literally every civ can take advantage of this. And I think in a lot of games you are going to be building cav at some point in the game. So I think that this is just a pretty good Royal House ability. You don't have to use it in like a big do or die Rohirrim charge. You can just use it to win like a little fight.
I definitely think they're better than the Hanoverians. I definitely think that. I do think they're overall on the weaker end of the Euro natives, though.
I actually do like them better than Hanover, but yeah. Now that I'm looking at it again, the fort and the age ups are the only real like stellar thing you
exactly
get tech wise.
You get forts. Good. Yeah, you get forts, cheaper age ups, and Cuirassiers. That is what Wettin provides. That is all they provide.
But to be fair, like Cuirassiers, like
they are wood costing Cuirassiers, though.
When I see this on the map, I see Cuirassiers, and
they are wood costing Cuirassiers, though, and that's expensive.
Yeah, but Cuirassier.
Yeah, if you're Malta, you can just be like, ha ha, yay, Cuirassiers, but
even more Cuirassiers.
Not many civs are even more Cuirassiers. That's right. Not many civs have the wood gather rate that Malta has.
One thing, they are more expensive, but one thing you've got to. How much does a normal Cuirassier pop? How much is it pop? 3 pop.
3 pop.
How much is it? 0 pop.
0. Yeah.
It's
very
right
accurate.
There is crazy. You can just I'm at 200 pop. Let me add 7 more Cuirassiers to my like army. That's incredible.
All right, House of Wittelsbach.
I like this one. It's not on as many maps, so I haven't used it as much.
I'm not too familiar with this one. I've never seen them on the map before.
So they've got a great skirmisher unit. It's got good range. With every promotion, it gets more range and more like fire rate. I believe it can stealth. I'd have to check that.
It doesn't according to its description. Maybe the tech gives it that ability or something. And they
Mountain
got a
troopers
goon
are
as well,
great.
right? They got a goon as well.
A goon that has a good hand attack as
So
well.
they have Sturm Goon as a unit composition. That's pretty good.
Yep. I have Oktoberfest. Each unit you've trained so far refunds a tiny fraction of its cost to the stockpile. Pretty good. Once it just pick it up whenever it's gonna
Yeah, it's just a later game
exceed
little
the cost of what you pay for it, but not bad at all.
Ships a number of the dragoons and equips
Yep.
them with lances to inflict bonus damage against infantry.
So they have Lancer Dragoons.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Skirmishers gain more range, particularly mountain troopers. Holy shit. So these mountain troopers are just awesome.
Yeah,
they're
they
like
do
a
seem
really,
pretty
really
good.
good unit.
This seems like a really, really good native, especially if you're trying to do like native like strategies, because you get Sturm Goon with one native post. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's so good.
And in Age 4, natives, outlaws, and mercenaries are 10% cheaper and train 10% faster. So
that is so nice. What's their big button ability?
It gives you mountain troopers.
Wow.
And it reveals the location of all enemy buildings. It gives you more mountain troopers the longer you wait. So if mountain troopers are good, and they are, this is good.
This is a really good native. This has like Huron Mantlet syndrome, where like it's really, really good if you want to invest in natives, and if you don't and you just want some good text, this is not the civ for you, because all of their stuff goes back into the natives.
Well, not necessarily. They've got the Oktoberfest will give you some res.
It will.
I guess it's not really worth the investment, but shooting, whatever.
But Huron also boosts fishing, so it's not totally single-minded.
It doesn't just affect mountain troopers, though. It's all skirmishers.
That's accurate, yeah. But like, you get my point, though.
Pretty great. Like, get that with forest prowlers. You got extra range forest prowlers. How crazy
or
is
even
that?
sharpshooters, because they have even more range than forest prowlers.
Like, what in the world? I think it probably is just like 1 range for skirms, 2 range for mountain troopers.
Still, 25 range sharpshooters is insane.
Yeah, range is awesome to have.
But it does have some neat military techs. I definitely think that having Sturm Goon as your natives composition is fucking ridiculous.
Especially just really good, super upgradable, like promotable.
Yeah, I want to put these in high
with
A.
Lancer Goon.
I've never seen these guys. What maps are they on?
They're in a lot. I'm surprised I don't ever see them. Let me check.
I swear to God, if they're on Eurasian steppes, I'm putting them in the D tier.
They're
on
Black
what?
Forest,
on
Bohemia, what? Alps, Baltic Sea, Black Forest, Bohemia, Italy, Portugal, Saxony, Scandinavia.
Oh, they're on Saxony. Okay, that's probably the map that you're probably going to see them the most then.
What I have to see is like, maybe it's just because it's like Italy, Black Forest.
Yeah,
Bohemia.
they're on all of like the weird maps that you're never going to really see in most rotations.
Alps is good though, so I think I've seen them on Alps is mostly where I've played them.
Okay.
And then Portugal.
And then like every fucking Euro native is available on Saxony. Saxony is just a toss up of what you get.
What's scan?
And lastly is House of Phanar.
I love this one.
Yes, me too. I recently posted a game on my channel where I used the House of Phanar, and it basically allowed me to just hold on for dear life in like a 26-minute game where it was just like it was just like constant pressure and rushing at all times from Brits and Howden. You should really watch that video if you haven't already. But these guys are awesome. They get some decent skirmishers. They're expensive skirmishers, but they're decent, And they also get the boyars once you get to age 3, which are really, really good. The boyars are just they're everything I don't like about they're everything that I like about the Tokenov, but none of the shitty stats. Boyars are just better than the Hanoverian Tokenov just right away.
Yep.
Their big button ability is really super good. The big button ability allows your villagers to fight. It gives them 12 more attack and 30 more HP for 2 minutes. And then it also delivers a number of musketeers depending on how long you've been waiting to use the ability. Now the ability recharges super slowly. Like if you can, you want to get two House of Phanars so that the big button ability recharges twice as fast.
I see.
If you didn't know, the big buttons, they charge faster if you have more of if you have more native posts.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And those are sacred band infantry, which are they're very good. They're basically the same as the Black Brunswicker. They're almost identical.
They're really good.
So
musketeers.
Those have the 2 rate of fire. They've got the extra movement speed. Very good units.
And then they have decent techs, if I remember correctly, as well. They have one that boosts building HP, which saved my life in that game. 15% more HP, because that affects like your outposts or whatever, or what have you. You know, I was, as you would say, I was sending like advanced frontier fortifications, for example. And they get the 2 monastery wagons, which I was kind of skeptical at until I actually like got them and saw their techs. One
These
of them,
mountain monasteries.
Yeah,
they just trickle you coin, and they have techs. It's great.
Yeah, but one of the techs gives you a 2.5 XP per second trickle rate.
Yep.
Super
one of
good.
Them gives you an Ev Zone for every 2 buildings you own.
Mm-hmm. Like they have really good techs at the mountain monastery. They have all ranged infantry inflict slightly more damage, so that's just that most infantry that you want to be using in Age of Empires is ranged. So it's just boom, here, have a boost to all the best military in the game.
Yeah, here's a secret with Phanar too. If you're playing them with Ethiopia and they're on the map, Athos monasteries count as mountain monasteries for you. They do everything a mountain monastery does.
Well,
they have all the techs. They train abunes. They've got. They can be split between gold or influence. So you've basically just increased the
mountain monastery
build limit of your mountain monastery by 2 and given them extra techs.
That's nice. Do you need to research this for the techs to show up at your mountain monastery, or do you get the techs at your mountain monastery as soon as you build the native post?
I think you need the Athos monastery for it.
Okay, got it. But yeah, no, House of Phanar is an easy high
A. I would consider putting them S. They're very, very good.
The only reason I don't consider putting them, that I'm not going to put them in the S, is because their skirmisher unit is so expensive.
It's expensive, but it starts with counter infantry rifle in Age 2.
It does, but it's also expensive.
It gets like an even higher modifier once you do get counter infantry rifling for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
okay, I'll put
them skirmisher.
And I'll put them in the S. Yeah, House of Phanar is really good. I don't think they're as good as they're. I think they're the bottom of S though.
Oh my goodness. We're only halfway through. This is like...
I know, this is a really long tier list.
This is like the Poke Rap. It's just like, oh, we're almost halfway done.
Because it's like
those lips.
It's like the thing about the natives is that there's so much more to talk about when we're talking about each individual native compared to like when we're doing like heavy cav tier list. I'm talking about the French Cuirassier. You know, I can cover that in like 45 seconds. These ones take a lot longer because they're way more complicated.
Yeah.
All right, let's cover the Huron. Because I've been wanting to talk about these guys. I fucking love the Huron, and at the same time, I also recognize that they're not the best.
Yeah, but they're pretty good.
The Huron have the Huron Mantlet as their native unit. They have a build limit of 10, they have 40% range res, a decent range attack, and a very high siege. And everything about the Hurons is all about giving you more mantlets. The Huron Mantlet, the Huron have a tech that increased the Huron Mantlet build limit from 10 to 30. So if you have 2 Huron native posts, you can make 60 fucking mantlets. And it's just goofy. And then one of their other techs gives you a Huron mantlet for every 2 minutes of game time that's gone past. So you can get even more mantlets. And
so if you like Huron,
yeah,
you should get Huron.
Yeah, that's the crux of it. Is if you like Huron, that you should make more Huron. Now, one of the biggest reasons that one of the biggest reasons that I like the Huron as well is that they're available on New England. Very popular standard map that just everybody likes, and it's just a joy that whenever you get New England, you're like, oh, well, I can get Huron because they're like the only civ that pops up here, you know. And then lastly, they do have a tech that boosts fishing gather rates by 15%, which is not the craziest thing, but it's there, you know. Hurons are great if you like Hurons. If you don't like Hurons, then don't get Hurons.
And then that fishing is just a little bit of an incentive, so it does give you a reason to pick it up if the game goes longer, if you're just fishing in general. So
it's
definitely something to remember, especially how common they are.
I have monocomp Hurons before, and it kind of works. They do need some kind of support unit, of course, but like I love Hurons, but I also recognize that they're very single-minded, so I'm gonna put them at the top of C. Or would you put them in like bottom of B? Where would you?
I wouldn't put them any higher than B, personally.
Yeah. Do you think they're B or C?
I think you could call it either way.
Yeah, because they're all fully invested into the military point, and then they have like nothing for tax and ego, which is really great if you're me and you want to just go pure natives and ignore your normal military, because they're also kind of a meme. But like, if you're not doing that, if you're not, it's niche because if you're not fully invested into natives, you're not going to like the Huron.
I can't ever see putting these on the same level as Hanover and Wettin and Cherokee, though.
Yeah, let's put them in the C tier.
I don't hate them, but they're definitely C tier.
Alright. Now you do have to keep in mind though that the Hanover and the Wettin are mostly in B, not because they're the same quality as these, but because their competition is so much better.
I still think, I don't know. Those are really good. I think we've got those rated too low, but
alright, the Jesuits.
I like these guys. H2 Dragoons.
Yeah, Jesuits are nice.
A building upgrade, and then what you really want for these guys is the I believe it's like smokeless powder. Yeah, it just gunpowder units. Hey, do you like gunpowder units in this game about the gunpowder age? There you go.
Yeah, here we go. It's the ranged infantry upgrade, but better.
Just worth picking up for that alone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're top.
I feel like they've got like a third tech. For the life of, I have to look it up. For the life of me, I do not know.
It's villager training time.
Oh, that's awesome! Actually,
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, these are solid.
They're like, here, have medicine, and
they're not an DE native, but
they're no good. Yeah, they're no OPDE native. That's very true, but they're very, very solid. They're just everything that you could want in a simple native. They're like, boom, buildings better, military better, eco better, age 2 goon. There you go. You know.
Yeah, if we were making a tier list without DE natives, then they would be like A or S.
They'd be A for sure. Probably not S, but maybe S. You know.
Well, if this was a legacy native tier list, it was like, okay, everything like C or D tier, and then Cree S tier.
Yeah. All right, the Klamath. I don't like the Klamath.
They're just not. They don't throw me at all.
They're not on
maps. They're on California.
Yeah, they are on a couple maps here and there. But their skirmisher unit they have is kind of just unspecial. And then
you don't know how unspecial it is.
Their techs give 25% extra damage, which is pretty decent, but they don't have a high base. I don't think.
The Cherokee Rifleman. It's like a reskin of the Cherokee Rifleman.
And the Cherokee Rifleman is pretty decent now, in all fairness.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when you look at other things, their other techs is you get a food big button. You get extra damage on the Klamath Rifleman, which is already kind of just blech, you know?
Okay, but...
And... the last thing is that they have basically a market tech. It's 5% for everything. It's like the first market. It's like that market tech that the Asian dynasty civs get, where it's just 5% across the board, and that's all.
Actually, I forgot they have this because I never use these guys, but that's actually really good.
It's a pretty decent tech.
It's not.
It's not
shattering.
It's the problem is they're just so blech in comparison to like every other native out there. Their units aren't the best. Their techs aren't the best. Like I would rather them be like any of these civs right here.
That 5% gather rate is very tempting, though. I think that saves them. That's like their saving grace.
I'm gonna put them in C. Top of C for sure, but C.
Hmm. And then Huckleberry Feast isn't terrible. That's like a big button that gives you, it's like a strawberry festival or something. Like, that's decent.
Yeah.
Pick it up late in the game, you get some food crates.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
There
it.
are way worse things. But yeah, just to invest like 200 food, 200 wood, 100 coin for a 5% gather, it doesn't feel like good tempo.
Exactly. That's the big issue. Is they have decent text, but they're just the fact that they're locked behind the native site is what's kind of dragging it.
Yeah, if the game is going a little longer, just definitely pick
them up. Definitely pick them up if you're like 16 minutes into the game and there's no sign of ending. Then yeah, pick up the Klamath Riflemen. They're a nice boost, you know. But
yeah,
like
they don't throw me though.
The Mapuche.
Mapuche, these are pretty good.
They have some pretty fun units. They have like Inca Macemen, and then they have like Inca Bolas warriors, but on a horse as their units.
Yep, just a dragoon that can snare.
Yeah, they're a ranged snaring dragoon with area of effect, which is pretty cool.
They actually have a better version of I believe the House of Vasa attack with all units cost 5% less coin. This costs 10% less coin in a rare instance of reverse power creep.
Yeah, right.
Melee infantry 50% siege attack. Holy crap!
Yes, and they have the Ironwood Clubman. Keep that in mind. They have the Clubman, which is basically a maceman, so that guy's going to get a ton of siege.
And then it has the same as the Huckleberry Feast, except it gives you coin, which is more valuable, and it's every 2 minutes instead of every 3 minutes.
The Mapuche has some pretty good techs. Their biggest issue is more so their availability than anything else. They're on most of the Andes, if I'm not mistaken, and they're paired with the Quechua. They are paired with the Quechua, which are really, really good.
Yeah, you don't see these guys a lot, but these techs are really good, man. Like, this is just solid.
Yeah.
Melee infantry plus 50 siege attack, I'm convinced, is sleeper OP if you're just gonna, like... Can you imagine just a club rush where, like, oh, my clubs just do 50% more siege damage, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little... You'll have to go a little out of your way to pick it up. It's not free, but...
Yeah. The Mapuche do have some decent techs. They have some okay units, you know? If you want to pick these... If you're doing some native stuffs and you happen to... like, for once in your life, get a map with the Mapuche on them, then yeah, pick them up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely... They also, like I mentioned earlier, they are paired with the Quechua on the Andes maps, if I'm not mistaken, which the Quechua are really good. We'll go over them soon, I think.
I like those Bolas riders. They can kite even better. It kind of trades out. They have a bad animation, but they snare at range.
Mm-hmm. They also only have a build limit of 8, which is kind of low.
But yeah, I do like making them.
Mm-hmm.
And those techs are just solid.
Yeah. Maya! Alright, so Maya can make healers, and they can make Maya Hulkin Javelineers, which are the real stars of the show here. These guys are... They're musketeers, essentially. They're Guess Kenya. They're musketeers with 1.5 rate of fire. And they only have 2 techs, but they have really good techs. They have... They have basically another hunting dog, so you can just double up on your hunting dogs. And then they have a 20% hit point boost for like all hand infantry, which is super nice. Which I think the Maya Javelin here might count as hand infantry, but I'm not sure. But yeah, the Maya they don't have the craziest techs out there. They're specifically good because the Javelineer is good. That's it.
Okay, sorry. I keep getting interrupted by stuff.
Because the nice thing about the Javelineers is they have a high build limit of 17. That's one of the highest build limits at base, you know. They're really good musketeers, too.
They got a pretty solid boost after Mexico came out, because before it was just a regular spearman, which isn't super useful, but now they learned how to throw spears, so
Yeah, so get Maya because it's hunting dogs and musketeers. If you're Germany, then this is great for you. This is going to add a lot.
I thought their tech only worked with farms.
What?
I thought their tech only worked with farms.
It says hunting or farming.
Really? Oh, just gather food 10% faster.
Yeah.
And then melee infantry 20% hit points, which
includes the Hulk and Javelin here. It does. Really? Yeah. I'm pretty sure at least. Even though it's
not melee anymore?
I'm pretty sure they still gain benefit from that tech.
So yeah, they only have 2 techs. They're pretty decent techs, though.
They are good techs. Like, the Maya don't have, like, the craziest, most out there shit, We don't have to spend 3.5 minutes covering them like we do with the houses. But they're good because the Javelineer is good, and it has a high build limit.
I thought the calendar was farming, but now I know it's all food. It's good. That's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I want to put them in the top of B. Or just the middle of B. Decent. Middle of B. Above these, for sure.
I think they're maybe not as good as Mapuche, but they're decent.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, actually, you're right. Let's put them here.
All right.
Because now that I think about it, I'd much rather have Caribs than Maya. Alright, Navajo. Navajo, if I'm not mistaken, have no multipliers but a high attack. They're kind of like Minutemen in that regard.
So they used to be like that, and then they changed them, I believe, in the last patch.
I thought they changed them back in the last patch. Either way, they're a cheap skirm with a pretty decent attack and a lot of HP. They have a pretty decent build limit of 15 as well. They have nice techs that just give all of your land infantry 5% hit points, just a slightly worse Cree upgrade. And yeah, they have one that makes it so that herd animals fat and faster, which I'm not super sick about,
Oh, I thought that gave you sheep.
No,
I saw shepherds and thought it gave you sheep.
No, it makes them. It makes the sheep. Yeah, it makes sheep like fat and faster.
All coin gathering,
and then a 20% coin boost is like the best thing about them, basically.
That's actually like a better market tech. That's pretty good.
It's an H2. It's like the H2 market tech that costs like 400 resources.
Let me see if I can get elucidated on the state of their riflemen. Okay, so the wiki is actually updated on this. So with update, Navajo riflemen cost 60 food, 40 wood, give 10 XP when trained or killed. Oh man, they have. That's a lot of changes. Jeez. So
it's a skirm unit, but it's not like the most special skirm unit. It's a decent skirm unit, But you're mostly getting Navajo just for the coin gather, and that's about it.
It doesn't. It says they took away their modifiers in Definitive Edition. I thought Knights of the Mediterranean gave them their modifier back.
No,
more conventional skirm.
What you're thinking of is the Cree tracker. The Cree trackers were changed to have more range resist but less HP, and they reverted that.
These patch notes for it are just like vomit-inducing, though. Like, this is way too confusing for like a unit you never see.
We can just like not worry about that then, and just stick them in the C tier and move on.
Yeah, they're not great.
Nookta! I have a soft spot for Nookta, but I also, at the same time, they're not the best units in the game. Now, they are heavy infantry, which is a nice little boost, because a majority of the minor civilizations give you skirmishers. These heavy infantry, they have 12 attack, but only a 2 times against cavalry. So they are basically a pikeman that does slightly better against everything else, but way worse against actual cav. They also have 28 siege, though, which is among the highest for natives, because most natives, even like the melee infantry ones, generally have pretty low siege. I'm still waiting for the day we get a native that has a cannon, but oh well.
Nookta bark clothing.
The Nookta has some pretty cool text, though. They have one
hit villager hit points.
Yeah, they have one that gives a shit ton of hit points to villagers. That's their biggest. Yeah. That's their biggest upgrade, is they're just like, ooh, your villagers are immortal now. Boom, plus 75% HP. Plus 75 HP. There you go. They
All their
also
other techs
yeah,
are just for the clubmen now.
yeah, they also they can just lower the price of Nookta, which are already cheap, and make them train slightly faster. And then they also can get a war chief, a Nookta war chief, which is basically just a bigger Nookta. That's all he is.
Yep.
He's got 40% range res though, and I think he can train the Nookta clubman from where he's at. So he's got that going for him as well. The Nookta, if you need a heavy infantry unit to siege something down, or just a frontline unit to sponge some hits, you can do worse. The Nookta aren't bad, but they're also not great. Their villager tech is like the best part about them. I'm going to put them at the bottom of the sea.
Put them above Klamath.
Put them above the Klamath? Okay.
The Klamath do have that feel.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about above the Klamath. I think probably about. I think they're worse than the Huron Mantlet is.
Yeah, they're not stellar.
Yeah,
that Vill HP is pretty good though.
Okay, Quechua. Quechua are really good.
Yep, very very good.
They get basically plumed spearmen from Inca, and then they get basically bolus warriors from Inca, but they cost no pot. And then they have really good techs as well. They have a infantry speed boost by 10%, which is stupid good. They have a 20% gather rate from mines, which is stupid good. Yep. And then they have a 15% train speed upgrade, which is stupid good. They have techs. They have techs they have good units, and they have good techs that everybody can use, no matter who you are. And for that, I think they belong in the A tier.
These are standard in treaty. Like every treaty game is on Andes because of these guys, just about.
I think they belong in the A tier.
Yeah, they're very good. One thing to note: the Bolus Warrior doesn't actually work like the Inca one.
So does he not?
Instead of countering Cav, it's like a AoE skirmisher.
Okay, got it. So it's like a fire thrower then, but with range damage instead of siege.
Yeah, but with 8 ranged attack. I know they're kind of bad, honestly.
Gotcha.
I don't make them a lot.
Well, the Harakas, the Plume Spearmen are still a win.
Yeah, all the techs are incredible too. Oh my goodness.
All right, Shaolin. Shaolin have the Rattan Shields, and most of their techs involve the Rattan Shields. So Rattan Shields are a shock infantry unit, just like Coyote Runners or Tiger Claws, I think they're the second best shock infantry unit after the Tiger Claws, personally. They have similar HP. They have 16 base attack instead of 15, but without the multiplier, and they have the same base HP. So they are notably worse than Tiger Claws. But they do have a tech similar to how Tiger Claws have a 50% HP boost attack in Age 2. The Shaolin get a 50% attack boost, so they can get 24 hand attack with 160 HP in Age 2, which basically puts them above the Chima Runner in every way, shape, and form. Tiger Claws are still better because they're way tankier.
50% attack is really crazy.
Yeah,
the Chima Runner.
It's 24. It's 24 attack in Age 2.
You can't put him above a Chima Runner. That's the king of shock infantry.
The Chima Runner. Well, I think the Tiger Claws are better than the Chima Runner, but the Chima Runner
way more upgradable. It has the Chima maneuver. It's just
of course. Classic. The Chima maneuver is a fantastic big button, and that's really the Chima Runner's biggest benefit.
Wood gather, that's pretty good.
But yeah, the Shaolin. Yeah, I was about to get to that. The Shaolin also have the wood gather, and then they have a ranged infantry hand attack, which is a weird one.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad though. Works on musketeers.
Yeah, it does. It's like better socket infantry, socket bayonet. Yep. Which means, oh my god, I'm gonna get these. I just realized I'm gonna get these whenever I play Malta, because Sentinels have a really high base hand attack, and then combine that with the socket bayonet, and you could get, oh my god, so 18 base hand attack plus 45%, so that'd be plus 8 damage if I'm not mistaken. 18 plus 8 is 26, plus 15% for being under the aura. That's 15% from the 26. You could get almost 30 hand attack in Age 2 if you have the Shaolin with Sentinels. That's insane.
Yep,
Holy
it
fuck.
buffs what do you call those? The Irumi swordsmen and Carolians less than normal units, but that just reminds me that it works. It does work on those units, which is crazy.
The Shaolin have some really cool things going for them.
Yep.
The Rat and Shields.
Unit too.
The Rat and Shields are solid. They're not the best, but they're solid. They're really good shock infantry. They're not as good as Tiger Claws. They're not as good as Chinus. But I'm thinking we put them, towards the top of A. Probably like right about here, similar to the Comanche.
I'd say that's fair.
All right, the Somalis. I don't know much about these guys, but I know that they have a skirmisher that's good against artillery, or as good as a skirmisher can get against artillery. I kind of feel like that's kind of just not the best unit archetype in general to fight artillery with.
It really isn't. It kind of, its main draw is its range.
But even then, they don't have enough range to outrange most artillery.
Right, but the artillery is almost kind of like a trap. Like, it's luring you into something that it's not good against. But it has 24 ranged attack. It doesn't have good damage, but the fact that it can shoot at pretty much all skirmishers and not be shot back at, that's what you make these guys for, essentially.
Yeah.
So their gimmick is that they're just a skirmisher that has kind of crappy damage, but crazy range. And I think that has a purpose.
They also have the Somali Isa warrior, which, if I'm not mistaken, is basically just a Geskenya.
It's like a Geskenya Carolian.
Gotcha.
Okay, now that I say that out loud, that sounds like
it sounds super good.
But it's not as good as Geskenya Carolian would suggest, but it's not bad. I like making them.
Now, because they are African, they get 5 techs.
Oh my! This is why I don't know what these guys do. They have 6 techs that all have a paragraph.
Yeah. Trade route income improved by 30%. There you go. And fishing boats and villagers gather coin faster by 10%.
That's really something. Holy crap!
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this in mind next time I do trade route booming, because holy fuck. Oh my god, I clicked on the Somali Jagiellon daggers, and that was a mistake. This is so fucking... it goes all the way to the top of my screen. Foot archers and infantry armed with rifles attack faster in melee. Oh, that's pretty cool. Plus 35%, but, so weird. Somali are weird. Increase the build limit of frontier fortifications, outposts, war huts, castles, etc. Oh, that's cool. So you get a 20% build limit boost to things like outposts.
Malta.
Yeah, I know, right?
If that, I guarantee you that doesn't work on commanderies, but if it did...
It actually, commanderies do have the frontier fortification tag.
That's... So wait, that's plus 4 commanderies.
No, it's 20% build limit, and commanderies have a 5 build limit to start. So that's 1. 20... It's one more commandery.
It says plus 4 build limit, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm looking at damage bonus. Inflict more siege units and warship units inflict more damage.
If that works with commanderies, that's
holy, that's so good.
So many commanderies, and then Knights of Rhodes, Rhodes, and get
dude, I kind of
knights or whatever.
I kind of want to make a Knight of Rhodes Fast Fortress with Somali. Specifically for when I find Somali on the map, I'm turning tables, Knights of Rhodes FF. That would be actually kind of funny. I wonder if that can be a thing.
Okay, so then trade posts can train Askari. It's cheap, and Askari they're like a Highlander, I guess. They're not everyone's favorite merc, but they do a good job. They're
they're the lamest of the merc musketeers.
But they're not bad.
Mm-hmm. All your future shipments deliver an extra fishing boat and grants 1 red sea wagon. Constructs most buildings.
It builds any Commerce Age building for free.
Ooh, dude, that's a commandery! Hopefully that could be a commandery. Holy shit, dude, you could make a really cool build with Somali and Malta.
Perhaps, I don't know. We'll have to test that. Melee infantry... infantry melee and ranged resist. Plus 10%. Both? Melee infantry costs less? It does more than... That's crazy.
Somali have really good techs, holy fuck.
Yeah, why did I think these guys were like mid tier?
Yeah, right? They're A to S for
line of
sure.
sight.
Plus 10 line of sight? Holy fuck,
10.
dude.
It's expensive, but
Does that...
you're gonna see everything.
Man, I wish that... I really wish that would impact Wignacourt, but unfortunately only Town of Center line of sight increases boost Wignacourt range.
If that worked with Wignacourt, this would be like...
Malta's wet dream.
Crazy.
So if you didn't know, the Wignacourt range, the Wignacourt radius, is equivalent to
Yes.
line of sight on your commanderies, your outposts, and your town center. But for the outposts and commanderies, it's only base line of sight, and for town center, it's its current line of sight given all the upgrades you have on it.
Yep.
These are some crazy good techs, man. Holy, I want to put these in the S tier, honestly.
Ooh, let's do high A tier. We'd have to test them out first. Let's be safe.
Dude, I really want to put together like a Malta Somali strategy. That would be really, really fun.
Yeah, this is way better than I thought. It's just a lot of reading to get through.
Yeah.
And they don't have the super OP what would they call it? Dervish. Like they suffer from looking like the Sudanese. Their units
that's
OP, so that's just like
but it's
when people look at them, it's
actually
less OP Sudanese.
But it's actually like better because that means everybody's going to underestimate the Somali.
Yeah, they're not bad. That's pretty good.
Okay, Sudanese. Oh boy, the Sudanese. Sudanese are really, really good. Because they have a 15 build limit on the Dervish, which the Dervish is a stupid good unit. It's a skirmisher that does melee damage from range, so it beats every other skirmisher just ever, basically. They're really cheap, they're really fast, they attack faster at close range. The Sudanese Dervish is just such a stupid good skirmisher. And then on top of that, like the biggest thing about the Sudanese is that if you're lucky enough to get a map with Sudanese natives, there's like 4 of them. Sudanese have like 4 fucking native posts on every map that they're available in. So you can get like 60 dervishes. And they're just nuts. As for their techs, Mills Estates farm, cheap farms. They have cheap farms. They had 2 red sea wagons, construct most buildings. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as Somali with Malta, but you know.
Once you research it once, it turns into like a big button where it's for every 5 minutes you get 1 more.
Really?
Like a little more. Yeah.
That was kind of neat. And then all cavalry and shock infantry get additional armor against melee attacks, so that's cool.
That's very, very solid.
And then allows Oscaris and Senior Horsemen to be recruited from the Sudanese. Okay, so yeah, a lot of these techs just seem like Somali but better, but I feel like Somali in particular just like they have more techs, and then they go really well with Malta.
Yeah. I think they might have more techs than anyone else.
Yeah, I think they have the most techs of any native civ. But I think the Sudanese deserve to be on the same realm as the Somali, for sure.
Yeah, one thing to note, Sinar Horsemen
they're very comparable.
Very good.
Sinar Horsemen are
almost as good as Mamelukes.
They are Mamelukes, but an age earlier is what they are. They're age they're age 3. Sinar Horsemen are basically veteran Mamelukes, whereas Mamelukes are like guard Sinar, essentially.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the biggest reason Sinar Horsemen are so good, is they're available in age early. It's the reason I put them in the S tier. Alright, the Sufi! Previously, these guys had war elephants. Now they have Kieselbash. The Kieselbash are good. I think the war elephants were better. Although they are very comparable because the Kieselbash are faster and have a range attack. They have much less siege, though. But they're still very good. They're very, very good.
2 of their techs, I believe, villager gather rate at the cost of health, and then it actually raises your villager build limit. So for treaty players, that is pretty sweet. Supremacy, not so much. Either of them, really. But their third tech gives you just a shit ton of goats. that are
Yeah.
fully fattened.
Yeah,
And
it's super
that's
nice.
people sleep on that. Like you can get like 10 fully fattened goats if the game even goes remotely past like the commerce age, and that's just so much food.
And the Kieselbash itself is. I just want to talk about the Kieselbash because I like it so much. The Kieselbash is basically a Naginata, but with the range attack of like a Hacker pellet.
Oh no, it's better than Naginata. It's a straight up lancer, all infantry.
Oh, okay. So it's like I remember this multiplier is only 2 times though, not like 3 like a
Yep,
Lancer's is.
but it's still all infantry. And
But yeah,
then
it's a Lancer and a Hacker pellet mashed into one unit. They're really really good. They
it's
also
got
have a
more
build
range than
limit
a
of
Hackapellet too.
12. They also have a build limit of 12. And yeah, they do have more range. They have 12. So, you can be like, oh, haha, I'm a Lancer, I'm a Lancer. Oh, those are pikes. Let me just hit and run those for a little bit,
Yeah, they counter a lot actually.
They
Like
do. They're not like the biggest units. They don't have the highest numbers, but they're really useful.
just very versatile with that ranged attack plus a lancer.
hmm
They don't have a lot of the. Pretty much the only thing that's gonna catch them up is dragoons.
Now, one thing to note about natives that I don't think I mentioned before. I don't think this applies to the house natives, but for all of the American natives and all of the Asian natives, their veterancy upgrade provides 25% instead of 20, and their guard upgrade provides 35% instead of 30. So it's like no matter what, all of your natives are basically Royal Guard units.
Yeah, Sufi are just solid. I don't think they're like overpowered, but
Yeah, they're solid.
B tier at least.
Yeah, I'd put them B, maybe even A,
Like,
but probably not.
close
Probably
to
not
the
A.
top of B.
Yeah, probably right here. I think this is a good
Above
spot for them.
Cherokee. Yep.
All right, the Tengri. I love the Tengri. I also acknowledge
They're
they're
very
not the best. They're
Yeah,
good, but they're not crazy.
I think they are very well balanced.
The Tengri have 2 units. They have the Tengri Wolf, which is literally just a wolf, and they have the Tartar Archers. Now the Tartar Archers they have a low attack of 5, right? But they have a high attack speed of 1. And they also have a like 4.5 times multiplier against cavalry. So against
Like
against like any kind of cavalry, at 3 speed, these guys are doing something like 70 fucking damage to cavalry. They shred cavalry. And they at 3 speed their range attack is 15, which is not great. They do have that fast attack speed, which kind of helps them out, though. They're very single-minded units, I find.
Yep.
And
Cav.
the Tengri Wolf is just kind of there to be extra muscle. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Like it's a food, like a little mini cav that only costs food. That's very worth it.
Now, here's the thing: they have a tech that makes all mounted units and pets move faster, and not by a little bit. It's like 50%. Or no, I think I might be reading that wrong.
0.5. They gain 0.5 speed, so it's no percent.
Yeah. It's not percent. Okay, so yeah, I'm just reading it wrong just because of how the app is written.
Cavalry and pets,
and then
that also gives them
the faster attack speed as well,
faster rate of fire,
which is really funny. It makes your Tartar archers basically fire arrow lasers.
Yeah, that's very good. So it's weird that it's not a percentage, but just any cavalry, I imagine, just add 0.5 speed to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
your hussar.
Your cuirassiers will be like, instead of slow cav, they'll be mid-speed cav. Your hussars are going to be fast cav.
And then your cuirassiers attack faster too, which is nice.
Yep, it's a little pricey, but that's just excellent. If you're making cav, this is an excellent.
They have a semi-fattened yak big button, which is pretty neat.
Yep, I don't like it as much as the goats because they're not fully fattened.
They're not fully fattened. Yeah,
they are semi-fattened. And yaks.
And then they have cavalry trained faster.
More.
And they have cavalry trained faster. They're just good. They're good.
It doesn't feel like an OPDE native, but it's not bad at all.
I think
really, really good.
I think they deserve to be in the B tier. Yeah.
Horses is the main thing. Shaman drums is like low price, low value, but not bad at all. And then the yaks aren't bad either. They're just pretty solid all rounder.
All right, now the Tupi are basically the Tengri but a little worse. The Tupi have archers instead of dragoons, which, like, there's already so many fucking archers that are also just better than the Tupi. They also have cougars instead of wolves, but you have to research a tech before you're allowed to train them. They're just they are literally just the Tengri but worse.
But
they have
archers gain plus 10 attack. Okay, that's not good. But
yeah,
buildings cost minus 20% wood.
They have a minus wood cost thing, but that's like, the Jesuit also have that,
You're right about that. And I think Cree have minus wood on buildings too. I mean, it's still good. Like, you can't just say it's bad because other things do it better, because that's,
But I mean, at the same time, this is a tier list where we are comparing it to other things, and when other things do it better, that hurts the two-piece placement. I think they're no higher than C, personally.
I actually like the animal lore. It gives your heroes the ability to train them. Archer 10% attack is just so, like, meh.
Yeah.
The buildings is really what you're getting for.
And the 2P archers, awesome. The 2P archers themselves are not fantastic units.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's
the nice thing about them, though, is they have a really good looking portrait. That's the best part about the 2P, is that they have a really cool portrait. Okay, next. Udasi.
Udasi.
I love the Udasi. I love these guys. They got the chakrams, which are basically fire throwers before fire throwers were a thing. For those of you who didn't know.
They have the same... They just reuse the assets for the campaign hoop throwers.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they throw, like, little bladed frisbees and for some reason they just explode.
They have a like mill and estate gather boost, which isn't the best, but hey, it's a thing for when you're in the later game, Ideally, you don't want to get that's there, though.
Yeah, it's not great. That's worth it in late game, absolutely, though.
They also have a 50%. They have a 50% hero hit point boost, which is really nice if you're any kind of native or like S tier kind of thing.
It's niche, but it's tempting at the same time.
It's like, niche but tempting. Yeah,
that's like a Euro Explorer card just for like 260 res.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna make your Explorer really. Oh my goodness.
And they have a chakram range and line of sight.
Aztec, please.
Oh yeah. No, it's really good with like Aztec or like any of the S tier heroes that I put in S tier. So any of the War Chiefs or Malta's Grandmaster just makes such good use of it. The biggest benefit to the Udasi is that it's most of the maps that have Udasi also have the Bhakti, which the Bhakti are really, really good, as you guys know, because they have the Tiger Claws and the War Elephants. So they have a good synergy with them. But unlike the Somali, where they actually have things going for them and not just supporting the Caribs, so I'm gonna put them in the B tier.
Yeah, maybe kind of lower on B tier. Yeah, that's a good place, because I don't think they're excellent.
I like them mostly just because chakrams are fun.
Yep.
The Yoruba! Alright, Yorubas get the Yoruba Legionaries, which are basically Kenya, except heavier, I think.
And for some reason, I always think they're slower. I don't know if they actually do have a low movement speed. Let me check these guys out.
They have the Yoruba Esso Rider. This is like the thing that the Yoruba are famous for. So they have a unit, is a cavalry unit that is quite fast and has quite a high attack, but it loses HP just like a Minuteman. But you can train them, unlike Minutemen. So you bring these guys out when you need them, and they shred everything in their path, and then they just kind of die and fizzle out.
I was wrong. The Oyo Legionaries have 5 movement speed.
Yeah, they're pretty fast,
and they're incredible. They're like a Soldado.
Yeah, the Legionaries are super good. They train really slowly, though, like really slowly.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They're just like a native Soldado, though. That's really cool.
But their techs are really good. They can make the Legionaries deal poison damage, which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
They have a tech that just doubles all of the natives that you have out. So that one's the famous one. This
one was very problematic.
Yes, because you could get something like 28 Yoruba as Legionaries and like 18 Yoruba Esso riders in your opponent's base at like 7 minutes or something like that.
Yoruba herbalism is kind of like meh, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's
just nothing special. All short duration units keep 25% of their hit points and you lose them less quickly. So that's mostly for your that's mostly for your Esso riders, but it also affects your Minutemen and your militiamen and stuff like that. And then they have 2 outpost wagons, which isn't bad.
And then gives walls and gates a build bounty, which I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe there's some way you can use that.
It's nothing special.
It doesn't feel special.
But like
those units are really good though.
The thing about the Yoruba units is you have the Esso Rider, which trains quick but is expensive and fizzles out and has limited use, or you have the Legionary, which is really, really heavy and can like stick around and fight for quite a while, but it trains slow as all hell. So there's just kind of like this. They don't have like a normal average quality unit. Is the problem with them?
Esso Riders too. You have to remember. It has 50% range resist, 50% melee resist.
Yeah, the Esso Riders are really, really powerful.
It's nutty.
The Yoruba Twins is a good tech, but now it's stupid expensive.
Yeah, they nerfed it bad.
Yoruba used to be S tier. Now I think they're kind of like the top of A.
They used to be double S tier. You could do rushes just with Yoruba.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna play Germany Yoruba Rush, like just make units and then double them all because.
And that was also in part because the native lore card used to just completely remove the coin cost, but now it just lowers the cost of native text by 20% instead. You know, you gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah, we got Zappies next.
Zapotecs! These guys are the best of the American allies that you can get from Inca. Just because you get fucking Rodaleros as your units, and rods are good, you know?
I think they're definitely not as fast as Rodaleros. What I would compare them to is they're basically a Jaguar warrior.
Yeah, the thing is, they are more like Jaguar warriors. You're right, because they do have multipliers against cavalry and infantry, not just cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
So the Zapotecs are really good. They're fast. They have they have good multipliers. This is the one you want that you like. If you have an Inca player who gets access to Cherokee, run in fear.
Yep. They've got Cult of the Dead. That makes that their unit even better, like 20% attack. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a another tech that gives resource crates for every few minutes the game passes, but this one gives wood, which is of course the most valuable resource.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's better than like Huckleberry Feast for sure.
Yeah.
And Food of the Gods. This is just like that tech for the other like garbage native we were talking about, where that saved it. This is like the same thing. All food 10% faster. Excellent.
Well, except it's not all food. It's all food except hunts.
Really?
Yes.
The wiki is currently lying to me.
According to the app, which pulls the data directly from the game's files, it boosts by 10% for berries and then farms and estates.
Yep, that's what it's saying here. I've been lied to. Okay, so it's not as good. It's decent though.
Zapotec are kind of they're good, but they're not great. Is the thing.
They kind of rely on their unique unit.
They do. They do rely heavily on their unique unit, which does have a build limit of 15. They do have that going for them.
The wood crates are very much appreciated, but it is a very good unique.
Yeah, we'll put them like up here. I think I might move the Maya down to C, honestly. Now that I'm like looking at everything else, you know. Okay, and lastly is the Zen Temple, which is where we get the Sohei Naginatas, a favorite unit of Japan. It's a pikeman. It's a pikeman.
It's a pikeman.
It's a pikeman. It's a good pikeman.
Were those the simple days?
It's a good pikeman, but it's a pikeman.
It's a good pikeman. They've got a tech that's kind of just worse.
Yeah, they have
Also the Dead.
Yeah, they have a unit.
Discovered.
They have a unit upgrade tech reduction, which is quite nice.
It's nice. It's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
It's not going to pay off until later.
They have a 1,000 XP towards your next shipments. They have mini mercantilism. That's real mini mercantilism right there.
Yep, this feels like the main, like, I don't know, this is...
And they have a 10% hand attack for their Naginatas, which is not a great boost. You know, they have good stuff, you know. They're not Seminole. Seminole is like the only D tier. Seminole's like the only D tier.
I feel like Zen is the other one I would maybe put in D tier, but they're not bad. They're just kind of underwhelming.
They are very underwhelming. But the Naginatas aren't terrible, you know.
How many Euro natives did we cover that had basically the same bonus, but better, with the meditation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they're better than the Seminoles, because the Seminoles have exactly 2 techs. You know?
I don't want to just put the Seminoles at the only person in D tier, though.
But they are objectively the worst!
They are, but they're not, like, the worst by much. I don't like, think of them as being, like, oh my goodness, this is just hot garbage. Even though they aren't very useful. But you're right, though. The Zen is better than them, because at least the Zen gives you bonuses that don't relate to your unique unit. They, like... Yeah. That's mini mercantilism. That's better than, like, oh, your archers are kind of better.
Now, granted,
that doesn't make archers and doesn't want to make native units.
The only reason that you want to take Seminoles is if you're on Florida and you're also taking the Carib. That's it. That's the only reason you want Seminoles. Zen, you can actually make them, you know.
So high are okay.
Yeah, they're not terrible.
They have good stats. If you're like US, that's good. Not as good as Camel Riders, because nothing's as good as Camel Riders, but that's a good pikeman.
Okay, I think we need to end this video because it's gone on for so fucking long. It's been such a long video. Do you have any last words? No? Okay, cool. Alright, bye. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This was, as ever, a ton of fun to make. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out, and have a great day.